كفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم قال هذا صراط علي مستقيم إن عبادي ليس لك عليهم سلطان إلا من اتبعك من الغاوين وإن جهنم لموعدهم أجمعين لها 7 أبواب لكل باب منهم جزء مقسوم إن المتقين في جنات وعيون ادخلوها بسلام آمنين ونزعنا ما في صدورهم من غل إخوانا على سرر متقابلين لا يمسهم فيها نصب وما هم منها بمخرجين صدق الله العظيم وبلغنا رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Surah Hijr. Last night we had read these ayat where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said that this is the straight path that leads to me. What is Sirat? Sirat al-Mustaqim, that straight path that leads to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And who are the slaves that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is calling His own? Inna ibadi, my slaves. And this has been used at different points in the Quran, this term ibadi, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls slaves and calls them His own, that these are my people. Who are those people? These people are those who are on the right path. And what is the right path? The right path is that these people who are chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are on the right path, and the shaitan, they will not be affected by the shaitan will not be given long lasting power over them or everlasting power over them. Who are these people? They are not those who obey the shaitan, listen to the shaitan, follow the shaitan. And these are people who do not have kibr, who do not have arrogance, and who submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with humility. These are the chosen people of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is the straight path that leads to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now the ayat for today, Innal muttaqina fi jannati wa uyun, after telling us about the Jahannam which has been promised for the people, the group of shaitan. The group of shaitan are those who are the shaitan himself and his followers. One thing that ulama have written, one other thing is that where do we get the protection from shaitan? Only from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we have to become the slaves of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and submit ourselves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for help against shaitan, because nobody can help us against shaitan except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When Allah protects us from shaitan, then we get protection. Innal muttaqina fi jannati wa uyun. The pious people, the God-fearing people, they will be in the gardens and streams. Udkhuluha bi salamin aminin. It will be said to them, enter here with salam, in peace. Aminin, free of fear. So Hazrat Sahaba Kiram have reported that the people of Jannah, when they will be asked, when they will be made to enter Jannah, they will be greeted with salam, peace. And this salam would basically give them the news that now you are in a place of perfect, eternal, everlasting peace, such a peace that is not going to disappear from you, and you not going to go away from you, you're not going to lose it, and there is not even any chance or fear of losing it ever. وَنَزَعْنَا مَا فِي صُدُورِهِم مِّن غِلٍّ إِخْوَانًا عَلَى سُرُرٍ مُتَقَابِلِينَ. And Allah says that we shall have removed whatever grudge they had in their hearts. So the people of faith, the people who are going to Jannah, even them sometimes have grudges between them, and those grudges are not based on their worldly things or worldly goals, but because of the things of deen. So it so happens that two people are on the right path, and they both believe, and because they are on the right path and they are very caring about what is right, what they understand as right, they are very strongly attached to it. And sometimes when somebody is not on their path, or when somebody differs in opinion with them, or when even in any other matter, not specifically of deen, but in any other matter, there is difference of personalities. There is difference of personalities and difference of approaches. So one thing is that a person hates and makes another person their enemy and constantly remains in looking for an opportunity to harm them. Such a person is not going to enter Jannah. But the natural feeling of the natural heart feeling that may start within somebody's personality, without their conscious effort and without them ever trying to fulfill it, but it is just that there is a mismatch of personality between two people who are both headed to Jannah. Allah will remove even that mismatch. If I remember correct, the name of the Sahabi Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu has narrated that when the people will be made to enter Jannah, they will be presented to drink from two streams of Jannah, and with that drinking, all the natural friction or the natural inqibaz or all the natural burden or hard feelings that they may have for anyone else, that will be entirely removed, because that is a punishment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In this world when we are living, that is a challenge from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In this world when we are living, if we have friction with our brother for the right reason or for the wrong reasons, it is itself a challenge. It is itself a bad thing, a thing of constant pain and trouble and worry when we have these feelings for anyone else which are not helpful, which are not very pleasant. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take that away as well. Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu has said that, not going into the too many details of it, but even among the Sahaba there was such differences of opinion, and Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu has said that I feel, it is my hope that this ayah is about those differences as well, that all Sahaba will go into Jannah. People later on have made these things too big, and they have said that Na'uzubillah, such was a Muslim, Na'uzubillah, they've gone to that extent that such Sahabi was a Muslim, such Sahabi no longer remained a Muslim. All of that is nonsense. All the Sahaba were Muslims. Even Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anh, in whose name people create divisions in deen and rifts in deen, he is saying that I have high hope that the Sahaba that I had differences with, this ayah is about us, that we will all enter into Jannah. So he is saying that the Sahaba that I have differences of opinion with, they will also enter Jannah into with me, and my belief is that Allah is going to remove even whatever tiny differences that we have between among each other. Allah will remove it, and will وَنَزَعْنَا مَا فِي صُدُورِهِمْ, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will cleanse our, remove all the grudge that we have in our hearts. إِخْوَانًا عَلَى سُرُرٍ مُتَقَابِلِينَ, they will be sitting on couches face to face as brothers, like brothers. لا يمسهم فيها نصب وما هم منها بمخرجين, no weariness shall touch them. So Hazrat Mufassirin have written that this is the nature of a human being, that when they are in some place, even if it is a very pleasant place, even it is a very beautiful place, still they get bored of it. They get tired of it. And we have experienced this, that we go to some beautiful place or whatever, and then after a few days we feel like, when is this going to end? When are we going to get back to where we used to be? So this is that Jannah will be such a beautiful place and such a place of pleasure that there will be no weariness in it. You will never run out of the pleasure. That pleasure, you will never get bored of it. It will keep on pleasing you again and again and again, constantly. لا يمسهم فيها نصب وما هم منها بمخرجين, nor they will ever be expelled from there. Nabbi ibadi, tell my servants, Nabbi ibadi, anni anal ghafurur rahim, tell them that I am the most forgiving, the very merciful. Tell my slaves that I am the most forgiving, the very merciful. After telling about Jannah, after telling the details of Jannah, after telling some features of Jannah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying what? Tell all my slaves that I am Ghafoor and I am Rahim, I am the most forgiving, I am the very merciful. Wa anna adabi huwa al-adabul alim, and that my punishment is a painful punishment. So therefore, this is what our Iman is. This is what a Muslim is constantly in a state of extreme hope with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and constantly in a state of extreme fear. Will I enter Jannah? Will I be able to please my Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? This hope that I will finally please my Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, will finally meet my Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a state of His happiness, and this fear that what if I do something or I end up in a state where my Allah is eternally displeased with me and puts me in a painful punishment. This fear and hope is what our iman is, that we constantly have fear and we constantly have hope, and this is what keeps us in balance. If we have too much hope, we start sinning and we start disobeying because we hope that Allah is merciful, Allah is going to forgive everything. If we have too much fear, then what happens is that we again lose hope that there is simply no chance for us, because the job is so hard. So we have to have both fear and hope. And ulama have written that when a person is young, when they are strong and the energies are young, and when the energy to sin and disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is hard to control, a person should read and should think and should talk more about the fear aspect, that the punishment of Allah is very painful. Whatever I do, I'm going to be caught by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So those energies of the youth are kept in check. But as soon as the age advances and a person nears their death, then they should start thinking more about the hope of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and start placing their trust more and more in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that my Allah is going to look towards me with mercy and enter me into His place of perfect pleasure, the Jannah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among the people who have perfect combination of balance of hope and fear in our hearts, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among the people of Jannah who are always worried about pleasing our Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and who are always worried about entering into Jannah inshallah together. Ameen. May Allah make us enter into Jannah together. And all these ayat that we read, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us all those blessings in Jannah without any punishment, without any stay in the hellfire, without any even tiniest bit of experience of the hellfire or the anger or the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allahumma ja'alna min ahli al-Qur'an الذي أهلك وخاصتك. اللهم حاسبنا حسابا يسيرا. اللهم إنا نسألك الجنة وما قرب إليها من قول وعمل، ونعوذ بك من النار وما قرب إليها من قول وعمل. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. صلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. آمين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.